So on this channel, I usually, come on here and be like, hey, you should read these books. You should read these books. I recommend these the most. But, I'm like, hey, let's look at tomorrow. Let's look at this. But, once in a while, you gotta get out there. You gotta live. You gotta enjoy something different more than just comics. So today, it's a little story time because I just got back from comics camp. And because I'm an adult, I went to comics camp. This is going to be fun. So, this is my 3.5 times doing comics camp. What do you mean 0.5? We'll get into that. But I first heard about it because I was subscribed to Dave Kellett and Brad Geiger's podcast called Comics Lab. And actually, May 15th, 2019 was that episode. Yes, May 15th, 2019. At the time, I was working a printing job. I don't want to say the name of the company, just because I hated that job. That job was one of the, put me in spiral into a depression. 6 hour days, $11 pay. It underpaid me. I just always, I always had to go home and work on commissions and other stuff. I didn't really ever had a chance to relax. But it was also utilizing art. It literally kind of bastardized what I loved. And I'm hoping never have to go back into that. But I didn't have a lot of cash at the time, but I had enough to pay for a $5 community thing for Comics Lab. And I remember Comics Camp sounded like the coolest thing ever. It took place up in Juneau. It was a shop that introduced this and brought up anywhere from 30 to 70 comics artists, various walks of life. So sometimes high professionals, well known in the industries, to newbies who've never published a comic and everything in between. And they do what's called Chatham House rules. So with that, you can talk about what was discussed there, but you can't say who said it. Literally, one of the and I'll get into this a little later, or not this time around, but one of the talks I sat in on literally was like, "Hey, this is how I hired an agent. These are my numbers." So it's yeah, you don't want to be like, "Oh yeah, that was John Doe that gave that." It's because that could put someone's career. So it's an amazing learning environment where the guards are down. So this is something I always wanted to do. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait. 2020, I applied, didn't get in, but 2020, yeah, haha, COVID hit because you have to apply the fall before. So with that, I didn't get in, just flat out didn't get in. I'm like, that sucks. Well, but because of COVID, they did an online thing, so I got to meet a lot of people. Great, a lot of work. I kind of wish we would do it again. Great experience. So a couple years go by. This would have been 2022. Applied again. Didn't get in. Got it on a waiting list. Well, luckily someone canceled. I got in, and just I'm not gonna go through the whole camp experience, but man, for that trip I went Delta, then had to get out, re-go through security to get onto Alaska. Never. Oh, that was a nightmare. Luckily, I got through security the second time. There apparently was a bomb threat or something. They were about to shut down security as I walked through. I was like, ooh. But then I went again in 2023. I took 2024. No, no, sorry. I went 2023, went 2024. I took 2025 off and then back this year in 2026. So uh, this year was a little bit special for me too. I convinced my pal Bobby to come. So we got to share a hotel. We did a lot together. So first thing was I had to get up at 4 a.m. That I cannot tell you how nerve wracking that was. I'm a night owl, but I was worried I would fall asleep, sleep through alarms. I was just so worried I would miss it. Got my Uber. He couldn't find me at first. Little signs of think future coming up. So got to the airport. You had to get there 2 hours early. So it's my flight was 7. Got there at 5. Got through security. No issues. Then got breakfast. Very important because come back later. Sitting in the flight. I'm a big guy. I pay a little bit more, so I'm in the business class. Not quite first class, but not quite the coach. So anyway, fast forward. We're supposed to take off. We're not taking off. They then tell us there's a maintenance issue. It's okay. So it's what can you do? You're kind of sitting there. I had about a 2 hour layover. So it's the kind of thing where it's like I got time, but at the same time, it's like you always want more time than less. So I'm kind of waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. They go through, they're like, all right, we got everything done. We got to spend, literally, they said like 15, 20 minutes to do the paperwork to make sure everything's okay. I'm like, that makes sense, but come on, come on, come on, come on. Meanwhile, while this is happening, a bunch of people are going behind me. And like, you can't quite tell, like, they're talking and they're like, this is interesting, like, something's going on. All of a sudden, they bring a wheelchair through, and it's like, oh boy. Then they bring the wheelchair back, no one's in it. So it's kind of like, what's going on? I kid you not. Like this gentleman, hate to say it, probably like only 25 years older than me, like older than me, but not as much as I miss used to be. But he does this dramatic walk, and it's like if this was the end of the movie, the music would be playing, and it's the kind of thing. It's like that's fantastic, but we're all about trying to we're an hour late to this flight. Get in the wheelchair. I only say that too because, like I said, he walked out on his own, very stoic, and it's like good for you, get off a flight. So get there, get to my gate. Like I said, this is the first time I went, didn't know anyone. Second time I knew a couple people. This time around, I knew more, and could recognize off the bat. Good group of them. I'm like, this is Comics Camp group. I then say something to the effects like, hey kids, what's funny is there was a new guy looked at me kind of like, yeah, I don't think you're in the right place. All of a sudden I hear Josh, a couple friends of mine. And I know they won't mind. Dylan and Kat, two of my friends, end up hanging out a good chunk of like the Juno trip with them. Both fantastic artists. Cannot recommend them highly enough. But anyway, so get on the plane. We take off. And this was one of the rarities. I actually got to sit in a window. I usually sit in the aisle. But man, getting some of these shots of overhead Juno was amazing. Especially, I mean, look how big that stinking cruise ship is. So the thing with Juneau, it's a small town in a countryside next to a beautiful ocean. And what I mean by that is, one, you can't drive into Juneau. You can either sail in, you can come in by ship or by plane. So there's no just driving in. Two, very touristy, but there's also the local side. So it's like you get either two things: complete tourist side, or you get the locals. So what's cool is I've been here before. So literally dropped off my stuff. I was staying with my pal Bobby at the Ramada. We were on what was called the ground level. I assumed that meant we were on the same level as the lobby. No. They had an elevator that went up, didn't go down. You had to take these like janky stairs to the basement. It felt like being in an old church. And that's like where a lot of the comics camp people were because we're all cheap. I get it. But dropped off the bags, hit the town with Dylan and Kat. Now, I'm coming. They're both West Coast. I'm East Coast. So I've been up a lot longer. I've been flying a lot longer. It dawned on me I hadn't eaten for like 14 hours or something. So I'm kind of fading. We stop at robotics. Oh my gosh, I should know the name of this place. Alaskan Robotics Gallery. They're the shop by Pat and Aaron. They're the ones who run the camp. Side note. So we were they let us know like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the weather. This year around, like the first year I went 65 degrees, sunny and perfect. This year around, it's like, I've never seen this much snow. We have like 3 feet of snow. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be the hardest thing about camp this year is all the snow. And then we got the other news. There's no water at camp. There's what? There's no water at camp. This is an old Methodist campsite that's made for children. This is like 30 minutes down the road. Now, granted, we're right next to the highway, but we're in an area where it's like there's no cell service. You're out in the woods. So when they say there's no water, it's like there's no running water. It's like, oh boy. So the whole time they're like, pun intended, I know Pat and Aaron aren't going to leave us high and dry. But we keep waiting for like, so camp is on. I fly in on Thursday. Thursday and Friday are Juno days, and then Saturday is the mini con. Saturday through Tuesday is the actual camp. So the Monday before, they're like, they'll fix the pump. Tuesday before, they're working on it. Wednesday before, we're not gonna have it. So meanwhile, we're running around Juno, And I'll have a close up of this. They gave us this little cards with all these different activities. So like the first one was like Alaska Robotics Gallery, make a button, take a button. Chalk River Trading, draw Earl the Bear, get a sticker. Didn't get to do that one. Juno Woolies, tell a yarn, get a charm. Alaska Fudge Company, sketch the storefront, get a goodie. That's way too much work. I love y'all. That's way too much work. Bussin' Out Boutique, sketch Juno themed bra design, get $15 off. I actually used that one. Uh, Chitticat Cove, draw a ninja, get a mini cone. Did that one as well. Amiga Distillery, draw your drink, get a free drink. Did that one as well. Harbor Tea and Spice Company, draw a T Rex, get a T Rex treat. Kinder Post, design a postcard, stamp, send a postcard. So we're kind of running around. We're doing some of this on the first day. Unfortunately, I then make the mistake. I get amazing fish salmon tacos, which were great. Then had a drink. Then we went to Amiga Distillery. Great. I love this place. One of the highlights of Juneau for me. They do gin and now whiskey. Some of the best drinks. Unfortunately, I didn't get my sea donkey, but had those drinks. So it's like I'm on very little sleep, little food. Not a good combination. I was drunk. So drawing the ninja was quite fun. I did some of these, so it's like, yep. We then had, I forget what they're called. They're Russian dumplings. Second time I've had them. First time I've had them in daylight. A little weird there. Went around. We then end up at the Devil Brewery, local like beer place. Actually had a full meal. Great times. But yeah, hanging out with friends, it was amazing times. So the irony was, we then call it. I then go. I didn't get a photo of this. Hopefully I can find one online. And then I'm like, let me go to the store, get like some stuff over at Foodland. The store, like, it always sounds and looks to me like a cheesy, like, I don't know, like, oh, we can't afford the rights to a real grocery store, so we'll call it Foodland, like a TV show or something. What's crazy with Juneau, especially with the tariffs, it's like, man, things are expensive. Like, you could tell it's like, man, this really is hit Juneau. The reason I bring this up, I'm tired, dead on my feet. Bobby's about to get into town. He's like, oh, I need to get dinner. So we end up going back to Foodland. Call it a night, wake up, day 2 in Juneau. One, it first starts out, we take over this little diner called the Sandpiper. What's fun is you just kind of show up, and wherever there's an empty seat, that's where you sit. So it's like you kind of learn real quickly who's at camp, but you never know. It's not like you make plans like, hey, I'll see you there. It's just like, hey, you sit down, end up chatting with people. And the problem with camp is you don't get to chat with everyone. It's just impossible to like spend meaningful time. So it's like Sandpiper's kind of great because it's almost like randomized. Um, Hung around more of hanging around Juneau, so I went like to a local coffee shop, and then did more of this activity. Finished this out with my friends, and this was like this is the thing I love about camp though. It's like it's a lot of work to get there. It's a lot of setup, but once you get there, it's like it feels like being a kid again. Where it's like, I mean, literally, it's like, hey, here's different activities to do around town and all of them implied drawing. Like, so it was kind of fun to go see and do all that. We then had the library kickoff where different campers, it's open to the public. They'll do anywhere from, I think they're supposed to be like around 10 minutes, presentations on whatever you want. So we literally, so what's amazing about this is they have a house band that will do parody songs that relate to the chat. So someone made a kaiju versus Paul Bunyan versus Blue, and it was basically how Godzilla convinced Blue that he should or she should get rid of the shackles of capitalism. And they made a parody song to 16 Tons, and I'm like, I was born one morning when the sun didn't shine. The mushroom cloud covered every surface in grime. I gained 16 tons, eating crab cakes and soul, and a lot of radiation till my tummy was full. You weigh 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day old, getting shot at by jets. Say, Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to Tokyo. I am the right kind of nerdy that can appreciate the Godzilla and 16 ton. Like, oh, it was brilliant. Hey y'all, future Josh here. I didn't realize someone actually taped the library, so you just saw the other clip. This is one of my friend Dylan singing like a Disney song. I just want to put this in here because I found it hilarious. So anyway, yay!
If you go into the dungeon tonight, you change keys. I'll go down. If you go into the dungeon tonight, you sure have a big surprise. The thing that's down in the dungeon tonight has 456 eyes. Every saving throw from your claws will critically fail and you'll perish because tonight's the night the dungeon wipes out your
And then some of the locals then they usually do a chili cook off. This time around they did curry, and it was they always deliver on some of the most amazing food. It's a great way. It's like it's a chance to actually get to meet a lot of the campers, end up chatting with people. But it's also, and that's the thing I love about going to Juneau. Like this experience you can't get unless you do comics camp because it's like some of it feels like being a kid again. Like to get from the library to this chili cook off, I was in the back seat, which is like I haven't been in the back seat in decades. Um, Piled in there, like literally, like Bobby's here in my armpit, my arm stretched out here. We got another guy. Like it's just like we're like little kids, just like crammed in the back. It's like, yeah, how far is the drive? So get there, hang out, perfect, wonderful time. I cannot thank these two enough. We then do the con. Now this is or next day, wake up. The Romana, like, oh, here's the other problem. Forgot about this with Friday. So we don't have any water at camp. We don't have hot water at the Romana. Like it's lukewarm at best. And like any other time, it would not be a problem. Because camp usually it's like, okay, like I can live a couple days like with lukewarm. It's like no big deal. But when all of a sudden you're staring down, like, we don't have water, like, I just want a nice hot shower. For whatever reason, the beds don't agree with me. So go have sandpiper once again, the diner, come back. Setting up for the con, my back flares up just enough, like nothing goes out, but it's just pissed off. And I think the problem was I was just wearing my pants a little too tight, aka Britney Spears syndrome, not enough blood circulation. So it's like, and it's like I went from like running around Juneau with a backpack, stuff I don't usually do. So it's like crap. So do the con, feeling a little better, like still like the rest of the trip, I'm moving like anywhere from like 60% to like 40. But great time at the con. Actually sold a good amount of books. And the weird, like, the one that came up that was a new one for me, because someone's like, oh, yeah, I found your volume one at a thrift shop. And it's like, it's one of those things where I'm like, huh, I've never had, it's an interesting feeling because everyone who's bought a book from me, it's one of those things like it's still on their shelf. So someone bought it and was like, which is fine. I don't know, like, maybe they ran into money situations, whatever. But I'm like, I've just never had that where someone's like, oh yeah, I found your book at a secondhand shop. And I sell public. Like, it's not like I have a big, distributor where it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like DC or something. It's like, that's a new one. So go up to the camp, do the usual things. Fun night. First night there, I helped clean up after dinner. Luckily, it was just sandwiches, but man, you do not realize how important running water is until you don't have it. So they have a bunch, like the giant like water coolers. I'll probably put up an edit here. We have a hand pump, so it's like you would fill up a base with one water that was cold. They then would run it through the coffee, like an industrial sized coffee machine without the filter, so you're just heating up the water into another vase. I swear I could make a Steam game, especially trapped up in the winter in Alaska. But it's just this interesting game of resource management because it's like, what can I use with water? Like, how much water do I need, and how much of this do I need hot? It's like you just take advantage of like not just being able to hit a switch. So helped with that. Go to bed. So there are various cabins. I got to stay in on. I am staying at Meyer Cabin. So show like a little map here. Yeah, we'll do a little edits. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Meyer Cabin. First year I stayed there. What's great about Meyer, heated, also has electricity. Usually has water. Not this time. But actually, they all have electricity. But this one's heated and has water. This is also the snoring cabin. This is where and a lot of individuals are a little hardy like me. A lot of body temperature. The other problem is this has it's heated. It has a propane tank. That first night was a sauna. Like I literally unzipped my bag and was more like a blanket. It's like 30 something degrees outside and I'm boiling. So get up, do the con. Oh, so at the convention, someone asked me a bunch of questions about composition. So I was like, I'll teach a class about composition. So the way the con works, or sorry, the way camp works, you have 3 meals, all provided by the amazing Justy, who she is. I don't know how she does it. She not only feeds 70 comic book artists, but she keeps everyone's allergies in check. Make sure we all have every meal has vegetables and protein, and it's always different affairs. It's never like like one meal might be like Mediterranean, the next one might be Italian, the next one might be Indian, like all around the world, all different flavors and types. So you have breakfast. I get like no sleep at con. Usually it's like anywhere from sunset's like officially at 9:30, but it doesn't get like dark until like 11 or so. It got darker this year. Then like sunrise is like 4 a.m. or something. So it's like I just end up. I would literally go to bed before or after Bobby, get up before Bobby. So go to like woke up, hang around the camp, around the main lodge, and then have breakfast. Then you would have the first block of activities. So it can be anywhere from like someone's teaching a class to like, hey, X amount of people might be going hiking. Not so much this time because it was really wet and rainy and cold. So it was more like, hey, we're doing like different activities. Um, and like I said, some of them are there was a wood carve. I didn't do this one, but a lot of people carved like wooden butter knives and such. So it's like the back porch. One, that's where they keep all the drinks. So a little colder this year was nice for that because it was all the drinks were cold. But they were literally just like I should have got a photo of it, just woodworking like the whole time, just people carving, and it's just various things like that. So it's like you can kind of it's whatever. It's someone who wants to teach a class or such. So, the first year I tried to like maximize like the second year I didn't do as many. This year I kind of did a mixture of both. So, I taught that composition class, which one I need to I got all my like examples and stuff via at the show. I kind of want to do it again with like some better examples. Two, there's certain things I thought of. I'm like, I think I could do this a little bit better. And the reason I want to do this again, I just had enough people go like, "Oh, I'm sorry I missed this," and the people who actually took the class were like, "Oh, this was really great. Thank you for teaching this." This is all stuff that Brian passed on to me. So it's the kind of thing. It's like I'm not. This is just me kind of fulfilling the contract. Where it's like Brian taught me, so my job now is to pass the information on to other people so they can pass the information, yada yada. We all gonna enjoy some better comics. Um, but this time around, so and then it's like you'll then have like lunch and then 2 more blocks, then there's dinner, and then afterwards there's usually like our big event at dinner. So this time around, like and like I said, I'm not gonna go into like the classes and such, but I taught composition class, and then I also did I like to do there's an individual there. I don't know if he minds being named, but I don't think I'll name him. But he's a professional game designer, and it's crazy because he'll like bring like 4 or 5 games that are kind of like he uses us as guinea pigs or as the like testing dummies. So what's kind of cool is you get to play a game like you'll play like X amount of games, various amount, and they'll change like each time. It's like well, let's try it with this rule, or let's add this, let's remove this. He usually teaches like a game workshop. So I did that one, which that one like this year was kind of missed, and it just happens. Like it's just I don't think we're all like sometimes sometimes you have a great idea, sometimes you don't. But the crazy thing was, someone brought some spray paint, and I got to tag, which I'm like, man, this is a lot of fun. I kind of hope someone does that again. But that's the cool thing about camp. It's literally like I went out to use the outhouse, came back and like, hey, you want to tag something? I'm like, sure, why not? So then the next day, we then have what is it? Oh, we did the 5 minute talks, and it's almost forgot about this. So everyone like it's literally like whatever nerdy thing you want to talk about, you can talk about a 5 minute talk. Um, and my pal Dylan, she did one on how horses aren't dogs and dogs aren't horses, and a lot of nightmare fuel. I'm just going to say a lot of nightmare fuel, and I'm going to use one of those images and show it to you right now because nightmare fuel. But basically, like what makes the difference between a dog and a horse. But what's funny is like a lot of people gave like some very serious like this moment in history. Let's talk about this something serious. And then there's your boy Josh. I go up there and talk about the greenskins, aka the orcs, aka Warhammer fan or Warhammer 40k, especially with the orcs color theory. I kind of want to do it again with more preparations. Maybe like Papa Nurgle. If you know, you know. That was just a joy. And then yeah, and then it's like you just kind of hang out and chat. You just and that was the other fun thing with camp this year. I got to do a lot of just hanging around and chatting. And ugh, I don't have the actual thing. I'll put it in. I'll edit it in here. But I end up doing like a lot of like little drawings and sketches, which I'm glad I did. So the next day, yeah, and it's kind of repeat of the next day. Like I got to go to a workshop about not safe for work comics, which was a very interesting insight, and especially because like that's a realm I'm always interested in. But it's also technically Bang is not safe for work because between the level of violence, like there is some nudity and the level of violence in that. Ew. So um, that also was a fun one because there was me and then there was the rest. Like one of these don't look like the rest, and that yeah, I literally felt like Big Bird in a meeting in that. But a very well presentation, and got to meet a lot of great people in that. Now I guess no, I did the composition one later that day. I forget what I did the first. Probably just hanging around games and all this stuff. But that's the thing. Like that's the kind of the cool thing with comics camp. Like you could easily kind of go into like I did exactly this, I did exactly that. I don't want to. It's like I don't want to betray that trust and be like, oh, the suit one taught. But it's just a chance to like unwind, hang out, and especially this year, not being connected to social media, not be connected to the news was such a gift. I'm like, oh yeah. Um, they had a oh okay, so they do s'mores because we it's camp, they do a campfire, but the s'mores have gotten more ridiculous each and every year. So like this year, a big thing was trying out saltine crackers. I didn't do that. I did do one graham cracker standard, Nutella, but then I sprinkled chocolate Rice Krispie puffs, and then the marshmallow. You then add a little bit extra Rice Krispies, so when you're eating the marshmallow, you can dip it in there and get more of the diabetes. Uh, but yeah, like I didn't do this. I was not like I would be kind of curious. I would be kind of curious. I only had one s'more. If you had more s'mores, I'd try. But when you're limited to one, it's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to risk it. Someone did rutabaga jam with smoked salmon, chocolate and marshmallow with I think with the saltine. They said they loved it. I'm like, whoo. But so the other hard thing was back to the water. Uh, on the first night, very strict, like no water. Second night, they figured out, or during that night, they figured out how to hook up a tank so we could at least wash our hands and do like some light washing. And they had like body wipes and stuff like this, but the washing the hands, that was the biggest one to me because I'm like, it's like you can do a lot, but it's like just keeping these clean, big thing. And like I said, luckily it was like 40 degrees. It was colder outside. We were all a little bit more mindful, so we were all like cleaning up the trash a little bit more. So in some ways, like it was a better camp experience. Um, Hi. Yeah, yeah. She's throwing a fit. So anyway, but then by like the third day they figured out no, the second day they figured out a makeshift um shower system. But by the third day they got the water back on. They didn't pump it through the kitchen. We still went with that, but we could actually take a shower. And ho ho ho! I can tell you this much: running water is I can live with that a lot. But I'm like running water is now not one of those things. But yeah, and then so the last day at camp, there's usually like a exit, like you can kind of go up and tell it your experience, and very emotional this year, including myself. Like this is the first time I got up, and I told them about, hey, I discovered this through the podcast that Dave Kellett talked about, and I talked about how much I hated that. Like that job depressed me like no end. So like being able to finally come here and do this multiple times meant the world to me. Um, Made a lot of great friends, made a lot of great a lot of great connections too, especially art wise. I'm kind of curious. This is the interesting thing with camp. Like you fall into these roles, like you feel like little kids. Like you fall into the roles, you hang out. Sometimes it's hard to keep that energy going. Like once you see people reconnect, you know how it is. It's like you're hanging out with your best friend. It's like time doesn't stop. Real world comes on. It's kind of hard. You kind of miss out on things. But anyway, um, then we have dinner and at this point, so here's my plan. I am part of the 5 a.m. crew. Because of the whole war with Iran, a lot of flights were getting like merged into one. So typically in the ye old times, I would get up and be like one to three people leaving at 5 a.m. And I was like one of 21 people, which was nuts. Um, so I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I pack up my sleeping bag because it's been a furnace in there every night. It's been a complete sauna. So I'm gonna do the old like high school trick, not wear pants, hoodie. I only had a hoodie too. Like for all the rain and stuff, I only had a hoodie. So I was like, I'll wear my hoodie like as a blanket over my legs, no socks, get up, go. That was the plan. So I hung out, and I like, I forgot. So much happens with camp. We got to play Telestration, which is AK Pictionary for cartoon. This game is so much fun. So you start off by writing a statement, and just something kind of clever. You then pass that to the person on your right, and then that person has to draw what you wrote, and then they have to pass the image to the next person, and they have to write on a separate piece of paper what they think the image is. I am not going to tell you all the stuff I've drawn, but oh my god, there were a couple things where I'm like, this is the level. Ooh, there's a lot of things I've drawn. This is one of these. I'm like, I didn't think I'd have to draw this, but here we are. Here we are. We did it with 25 people. Like I was up till like 3:30. Ugh, that was a long one. So like I'm starting to fade. I didn't get to do like game night and such, but like literally the last night I go to bed around like midnight, like 11:30. I'm dropping drinks. I'm falling asleep. Like and not like just they had some seltzer water. I dropped. I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed. So I wake up around like 3:30. My teeth are chattering because I am freezing. And this is the level of cold I am. Not, like I grew up in Colorado. I'm not used to this level of cold. And man, here's the other thing with the camping experience. Even if we had running water for the cabins, you like every time I'd wake up, it's like time to pee, time to pee. I'm like crap. So get up, put on pants, put my boots on. Like I call them the hillbilly style, where it's like they're not laced up. It's like the moonshiner coming out. Like not laced up, just kind of wearing them. Walk over, use the outhouse. Halfway through, like at when it's like 35 degrees, all of a sudden you're like, I'm up. I'm not getting into bed. So I actually went back to sleep, but I got back, like got up, made the camp, like got on the train. Everything worked out fine. Turned out our stinking propane ran out, hence why I was freezing. It was me and another guy, and one of the locals took us up there But what was cool was because we were in her car, we got to like stop and look at the sunrise a couple times. Beautiful, just one of the best sunrises I've ever seen, especially in Juneau. And then I got to do what's known as the milk run. So, like I said, a lot of towns in Alaska, the only way you can get there is by flying in. So all of a sudden, like it was a direct flight to Seattle, but we then spent an extra hour in a little town. Literally didn't get off. I just passed out. Like I just fell asleep, and like from Juneau, yeah, like I just slept a good extra like 4 hours. There's one of the individuals talking to me, and they're like, "Yeah, you just like you were out like a light before we took off." My that sounds about right. Hung around the Juneau airport, almost like it's one of those things like I can't like I'm still back still not great, so I'm not walking as fast. And then I get to my the gate, and they're like, they moved gates. I'm like, of course they. And it's never like, they moved over one. It's like, it's on the other side of the airport. Catch my flight, hung around, do all this stuff. I'm a little bit panicked, like not a little bit panicked, but we get in early, and I had an Uber scheduled to pick me up. Now my flight landed at 11:59, and on the 14th, and my Uber scheduled to pick me up on the 15th, which I'm like makes sense to me. Time difference. Somehow it created a weird paradox, and it never went through because it reported that it was picking me up on 11:59 on the 15th, but the flight came in a day early. So like it was just this weird computer error. I spent up like an hour. Finally, just called like another Uber. The guy, what got me, I warned the guy. I was like, I am not a good, not a good move. Blah blah blah. He's like, I get, it, I get, it, I get. It. He didn't ask me what I did. I'm like, I'm a graphic designer. He's like, graphic designer. I got a project for you. And it's like, I finally said, dude, it's 1 in the morning. I'm not in a work mood. But it's like, dude, like I don't know why. Some reason with artists, it's like, you're an artist. You like to work. It's like, ugh. But back to the thing. One of the best trips, one of the best weeks of my life, and it's crazy because like we didn't have water for a good portion of it. Like a very necessity to living. Didn't have one of the best times. It's something like if you're a cartoonist, I recommend applying to it. It's one of the areas that I always feel great. I love seeing like old and new, like I love seeing old friends. And there's something about going and like not knowing someone by the time you get there, but knowing them, like feeling like they're great friends by the time you leave. Especially because like I don't say who they are, but I met an individual who they do the manga lettering, so they're the ones who translates the sound effects for like the American comic like versions. And it was interesting talking to them, especially because they've been around the industry for years. It was interesting to break down and hear like their talks about everything. So just yeah, thank you again to so many of my friends there that make that trip worth it. And it's like I said, it's the kind of thing. It's a lot of work. It's not cheap. I won't lie there. They will help you with finances if you need it, but I always like paying my way. But like, what's nice is the second I get on that Seattle to Juneau flight, I have no worries, like none, because I know like Pat and Aaron will pick me up from the airport. I get to hang around Juneau. It's just a lovely time, and yeah, it's one of those. Like I said, it's always a highlight of the year. It's definitely one of the highlights of my life is Comics Camp going to Juneau. And I always kind of feel bad because it's like one, Juneau's a gorgeous place to go to, but I always feel because it's like the Juneau I get experience is something you like most people don't experience because it's literally like locals opening up their homes, even like local shops now. Because like I said, like a lot of these, you know, draw a T Rex, get a tea treat. I did that. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. And like I said, a little different this time. Got to do a little bit more editing, but woof, this is a long one. Hope you enjoyed it. So anyway, till next time. I can't believe I forgot this one. Bonus. So one of the presentations at the library was about how this bound to happen. When they were a kid, they were really into Pokemon, but they grew up very Christian, so they mixed Pokemon with Christianity. So the joke became Pika Pika Amen, even to the point, you know, bunch of nerds in a woods with no technology, like, they came up with hand gestures, Pika Pika Amen, like insane. Well, because of between that and the lack of water, the running joke I always enjoy, we kept saying like not a cult. So it'd be something like, "We all need to pile into the unmarked white vans." Not a cult. Uh, no, you all know me. I would take it a step farther because I'd be like, "Are you ready to pump mother's water for the shower?" Not a cult. Like someone found a deer skeleton and they were showing it off. So literally, I'm holding up a spine. It's like not a cult. Oh my gosh, but yeah, that not a cult joke just woo, one of the best parts of camp. But anyway, not a cult.